The Marching Roundtable's appearance on tour with the Phantom Regiment was made possible by Fred J. Miller Incorporated, found at fjminc.com.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
It's Courtney from ColorGuardEDU. And the thing is, like, we spend so much time talking to each other, communicating, working together, do webinars, and we never really get to do this in person. Like, I'm standing next to you.
That's awesome.
In the same airspace in
the same atmosphere.
We have the regiment truck in the background. So, what's your role? You're working with a lot of different groups. You have so many different talents. Of course, you're doing all the great webinar stuff at ColorGuardEDU, talking to all those people. I love all that stuff.
Thank you.
You're doing such a great job.
Thank you.
People love it. I've been getting so many comments like, I love what you're doing. I love the content. I love the educational vibe.
Absolutely.
You hear this too?
Yes, absolutely. From a million people, and it's been fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're working, what course are you working with this summer?
I am working with the Phantom Regiment.
Yay! Of course you are, because here we are. So what's your role with the regiment?
So essentially, I am the movement designer, and I do a lot of training with the horn line from a choreographic standpoint. Right now, I am working with them on doing some performance consulting. I'm getting my master's degree in performance psychology, and so that for me has been really, really helpful to kind of work with them in that capacity. And along with the movement idea comes the performing idea. So.
What psychology? Performance psychology.
Yeah.
Like, that is so interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Because performance is everything. And you are great at working with groups and getting them to perform. So what does that look like when you're in front of the horn line or you're working with the horn line and the percussion? Like, what kind of stuff are you saying? What kind of stuff are you doing?
I'm being vulnerable. I'm being myself. I am essentially opening myself up to them, and so they feel comfortable and they're in a safe space. And that, to me, is the most important thing when dealing with performance, because you're asking teenagers to be open, and that's really not their bag. So
how do you draw that out of them? How do you make them become comfortable performers?
We do a lot of exercises. They do a lot of partnering. I make them feel really, really weird. Like, we do a lot of really weird stuff just to kind of get them out of their shell. And then all of a sudden they see that it's not so hard and they are all weird. But yeah, it's just a lot of different exercises. And then I do some performance consulting things.
Wait, what does that mean? Performance consulting things. What does that mean?
So I meet with them. I meet with them as a whole core, and we talk kind of about where they're at and how they're feeling about the energy, the vibe, and what they think they should be doing to get better. For me, performance consulting isn't about me giving them information. It's about pulling the information from them. And so that idea of getting them to talk and for them to really make that connection, they're almost like they're thinking of it. And that's what I want them to do. I want them to approach it in the way they would, not the way I would.
So that is very much psychology.
Yes.
So that's so interesting, because I think people that are out there instructing, band directors especially, they're great at teaching the notes, getting them to play well, teach the drill, but then when they get down to this part, I think they don't know what to do.
Right.
Right. So I'm glad that you're out there helping us do this, and I'm sure there's going to be tons of information at ColorGuardEDU about this. What's one bit of advice you would tell someone? You already said have them do exercises to get out of their shell. That includes like improvisation and stuff?
Yeah, improvisation, but not like, I think people are like, improvisation, like go over that wall. Like it's nothing like that. It really is about connecting with another human being and having the capacity to recognize that we're all in this space together. I think for me, the biggest part about teaching performance is the people in front of the performers need to have the energy that they want to convey, because everyone we teach, they're mirroring us. They are trying to become us. So that idea is us.
That was so big.
As an education person, that to me is the most important thing, because we really want to make sure that the students get the energy that we want from them, from us.
I will go on record and say that every time I've found like a guard, say for example, say color guard, and they're like way better than they ought to be, and they're performing way bigger than they ought to be, you meet their director, the instructor, and they're like, okay, there it is.
Yes.
That person is modeling for them exactly the kind of performance, and so that's what you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think people get lazy.
Oh my God, absolutely.
I saw somebody teaching a group recently sitting down in front of them, and I just cringed because I said, you're not portraying, and I don't think they had like a broken foot. I could have looked closer.
I think
but what do you think about that?
Well, I think there's an energy that we all need to have as teachers, as educators. Like if they're out giving 100%, we should be modeling that 110% that we want them to give. So anytime we're teaching, I really try to make sure that I'm actively walking around the space and trying to engage them because I want them to engage me.
Okay, that's very cool. So I saw you today do a little bit of that.
Yeah.
You just came back in with the corps today, so I know you were still sort of getting acclimated and starting, but like I thought it was really smart. Some of the things you said, like something about bring your energy up, or you're not like. Give me an example of the kind of things you're saying.
So what we talk about right now with the corps is we're wanting them to make high energy mistakes and not low energy mistakes, because the low energy mistakes just means they're not going about it in the way that they would during a performance. So if they're making high energy mistakes, we understand that they would have a good understanding of how to correct that within the performance realm within the show. So putting the energy out 100% all the time, when you make a mistake like that, you remember and you're able to fix it right then. And so you'll be prepared for anything that happens.
That's really interesting because I've heard people so many times say, practice like you're performing in the show. Practice.
Right.
But this way of saying it is easier for me to get.
Right.
Because it's really hard for me in the middle of a hot summer day and out on the field to think, it's just like finals. No, it's really hard to get there. But to think about the energy level,
yes.
that is very concrete to me.
Right. So that's part of the performance consulting thing, is really being able to have that concrete energy continuously, like throughout, to where it becomes a consistency. And I know that everyone's practice like they perform, but you can't do that until you start building that within your own body and within the stamina quality of what you're doing. Because, man, but to perform for, 11 minutes is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
So building that stamina is something we've been really working on with them.
I love that. That whole concept registers in my head like really happy.
Yay.
Like, it makes perfect sense to me. That's something I think a performer can relate to, is like, are you bringing the right amount of energy at this moment? Right. That is something I think very tangible. I love that. Yeah. Well, I think you're doing great work.
Thank you.
Thank you for my corps, regiment. I'm so happy that you're here sharing your expertise. How do you think the summer's going to go?
I think it's going to be great. I think that we just have I love our show, and I love the staff, and I love the kids that we teach. They're super hungry.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Like, I really, absolutely, the vibe is super positive, and
awesome.
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped for the rest of the season, because it's only,
it's early.
Yeah, but the growth, it's there.
Yeah, I could tell today watching. My take on it was like there is potential oozing on every corner of every member, and I just thought this show is going to grow and explode and be so exciting. You can tell.
Yeah.
So people, it's a long season. Everybody starts at a different place. I think this course is going to be great. I think it's going to be, I do love the show.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be fantastic, and I'm prepared, and we're ready, and it's coming.
I'm so glad you're here working with them. Thank you again for partnering with me on the Marching Arts Education site, ColorGuardEDU. I love the work we're doing. I keep getting wonderful comments about it. So
yay!
Thanks for being my partner in crime for that.
Absolutely.
I'm really proud of it.
Thanks for being here at the show.
I know. I'm so happy to be here. Now I'm going to go in and watch some drum corps.
Right.
I can't wait to see the regiment in uniform, full out tonight. Yay!
Absolutely.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
Find other interviews and videos from top DCI designers, instructors, and marchers, behind-the-scenes videos, interviews, and podcasts from winter camps, spring training, traveling during the season, and performances, all at marchingartseducation.com/DCI-2019. The Marching Roundtable is proud to be an official media partner of Drum Corps International.